Now on KOAM News at 6, the city of Joplin outpaces the state of Missouri when it comes to vaccination percentages. Plus, local health officials react to the full FDA authorization of the PFIZER vaccine. And Southeast Kansas hospitals call on residents to take action to curb the spread of COVID-19 as their beds fill up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
State numbers show the city of Joplin is outpacing other cities in the state when it comes to vaccination percentages, becoming the first to hit 50% fully vaccinated. This is KOAM News at 6, broadcasting on Fox 14 tonight because of golf coverage on CBS. State data shows that 50.9% of the state is fully vaccinated. 61% of all adults 18 and older have started the vaccination process. Joplin leads the state in vaccinations with 50% of its population fully vaccinated against COVID-19. 9 jurisdictions in Missouri are at least 40% vaccinated.
I think there is interest in vaccinations, especially in the more urban areas. We see like fewer people in the more rural areas that seem to be coming out for the vaccine.
The state of Missouri has administered more than 95,000 doses of vaccine in the last 7 days. The highest vaccination rates are among people older than 65. Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine becomes the first in the U.S. to receive full approval from the FDA. The approval comes after 8 months of emergency use when more than 200 million doses of the vaccine were administered. The approval is for those 16 and older, but it still has emergency use authorization for teens 12 to 15 years old. A pharmacist at Prater's Pharmacy in Webb City says they haven't seen many people come in for the vaccine since the news, but she hopes that will change.
I hope that gives, people in the community another sense of encouragement that the vaccine is working. So hopefully it will just increase our vaccination numbers for the counties around here, because compared to the national average, we are below on our vaccination rates.
Tonight at 9 and 10, we're going to hear more from healthcare providers on the approval, and we'll hear from an Iola, Kansas resident who still has some reservations about the vaccine. Brings us to today's KOAM News Now Instapoll. Today's question: do you think full FDA authorization of the Pfizer vaccine will decrease vaccine hesitancy? You can vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live, and we're going to check in on the results here in just a bit. With the FDA authorization, Cox Health has moved to require COVID-19 vaccinations among its employees. Hospital officials say the decision was led by the health system's physician leaders and was due in part to the FDA's full authorization of the Pfizer vaccine. Cox Health CEO Steve Edwards said in a media release, quote, "This decision is ultimately led by science, which has shown us that vaccinations are the way we can end this pandemic." To date, nearly 70% of Cox Health employees are already vaccinated against COVID-19, as well as more than 90% of physicians. Southeast Kansas hospitals say they're being stretched thin as COVID-19 spreads throughout the community. KOAM's Ronti Sorotsky tells us how this led to area hospitals signing a letter asking residents to do more in slowing the spread of the virus.
After dealing with the pandemic for more than a year and a half, healthcare workers say they've been doing all they can to keep the community safe. Now it's time for the community to do their part. That's why on Sunday, Ascension Via Christi posted a letter signed by multiple Southeast Kansas hospitals asking residents to do their part to slow the current spread of COVID-19, which includes being vaccinated.
One of my major concerns is that the vaccination rate isn't as high as we need it to be. And I know a lot of people have been hesitant to get the vaccine for different reasons, but I would encourage everyone that has been hesitant up to this point to reconsider.
Right now, 29% of patients are being treated for COVID-19, which puts even more strain on smaller communities like Neodesha.
Last week, we've had 2 patients that we had difficulty finding place for them to go.
On Ascension Via Christi's Facebook page, where the letter was posted, they stated that a doctor in the Southeast Kansas area had to call 21 different hospitals in the region to find one bed for a non-COVID patient.
We have the ability to take care of patients, but it is increasingly difficult to transfer patients to higher level of care in bigger cities because the capacity is getting to be quite a challenge.
Which is why hospitals are asking the public to take precautions as they reach a point of crisis.
I think we all thought, hey, this thing is coming down, we're coming to an end. It's rising here. People need to get vaccinated if they can. If not, they need to protect themselves with PPE, wear your mask, stay away from large groups, just be safe.
In Southeast Kansas, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Now, KOAM also reached out to Freeman Health System about hospital bed availability, who says there's a shortage of beds for COVID-19 patients throughout the four-state area. Nick Kelly, dangerous heat out there.
Absolutely, Dal. We saw temperatures push back into the mid-90s today, but with the humidity, it certainly felt like triple digits once again, so it didn't feel nice to be out and about, even though it certainly looks nice with mostly sunny skies outside. Our main weather headline continues to be all the heat advisories all across the region, taking us until at least Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. So we were hopefully waiting for the heat and humidity to fire off a random shower or storm, but any of that action as well to the east of us from St. Louis down south to Cape Girardeau, getting ready to head towards Sikeston as we work toward the boot heel of Missouri. So we are dry to start this evening out, but hot and humid for sure. Lower to middle 90s all across the board. Still feels like the triple digits in some spots, and ultimately we are going to see these temperatures drop throughout the course of the evening. But still a warm evening, 83 by 10, 81 by midnight. I do think we drop back to 75 overnight, Dow, before we see some more heat on the way. We'll see if any relief is in sight here in a bit.
See you then. Miami, Oklahoma police are investigating a homicide. They say it happened on B Street Northeast. They were called to that area for a stabbing. Officers found 37-year-old Johnny Uran lying in the yard with stab wounds. Uran died at the hospital. Authorities then identified a suspect and arrested that person at a Miami home across town.
I believe there were acquaintances. That what happened or what caused the stabbing is still being investigated. Trying to find out what exactly happened. Officers still working on that to find out why there was an altercation. As far as we know, they were acquaintances.
Authorities have not yet filed formal charges. Still ahead, Mercy Hospital officials share details of an upcoming employee pay raise. And later, the GIRARD Trojans are just 11 days away from their season opener. We're going to see how they're preparing in sports. Mercy is planning to raise its starting wage to $15 per hour for thousands of hospital employees next month. Reporter Laura Schwenker spoke with Mercy officials in Springfield about what prompted that move.
$15 an hour.
Our coworkers are our biggest concern, and we feel like this is one way to support our coworkers, their families, and our communities.
The hospital is increasing pay in a move to get more employees to choose Mercy as a career.
It also keeps us competitive in a very rapidly changing marketplace. I think obviously with entrance into our markets across our ministry footprint, competition for talent is pretty aggressive.
All workers will be eligible for the new starting wage, including housekeepers, food service workers, transportation workers, and technicians.
It's a mission-centric move for us to continue to support our coworkers in this manner.
The change stems from an $18 million additional annual commitment Mercy added to its budget. Workers will see the increase on their paycheck on October 8th. Mercy is very excited to be able to offer this to its workers.
We want to make sure that we can attract and retain the best talent possible so that we can continue to provide compassionate care and exceptional service to our communities. And so it just, again, it feels like it's an opportunity to positively support and take care of our coworkers.
That pay increase will affect all Mercy locations in the 4 states. Later, the GIRARD Trojans picked up some big wins last season. Tonight, we're going to see how they plan to carry that momentum into this season.
But first, plenty of heat and humidity lined up. We'll see if there's any relief in sight in the forecast when we come back. Of course, we made it back into the heat and humidity once again for today, which is normally where we should be for a good portion of August. But if we look back on the month so far, since we're already into the latter part of the month, still amazing to see the amount of blue days lined up, showing days where we had highs below normal. We had plenty of those for the first week of August. A good portion of last week was running a bit below normal before we got the weekend underway. Then you see how we went from 92 on Friday. The rain knocked us down to 87 on Saturday, but for the past 2 days alone, yeah, we certainly got back into the heat and humidity. We hit the mid 90s yesterday, dropped back to the upper 70s for a warm start this morning, and then easily right back into the mid 90s once again. Unfortunately, the heat and humidity in play couldn't fire off any isolated showers or thunderstorms to give at least a few spots a break from the heat. So that continues to be the main headline, not just for the evening to start things out, but all the way through Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. All these heat advisories across the entire area. So we've got a few more hot and humid days before we see a little relief in sight later on in the forecast. Right now, we're mostly clear at 7th and Ranch Line. 93 in Joplin. Feels like 97, though, with the dew point sitting at 68. That south breeze at 13 is trying to help things out a little bit. Overall, though, it's keeping everybody mainly in the lower to middle 90s right now. It's also keeping some of the humidity up as well. Dew points, they can certainly be a lot worse than this, mid 60s to lower 70s, but when temperatures are this hot, it doesn't take a lot of humidity to make it feel like the upper 90s and some lower triple digits across the region. Thankfully, though, we'll get a little reprieve from the heat as we go through the evening. 83 by 10, 81 by midnight. We'll drop back to 75 for most of us as we go through the course of the night. Any thunderstorms close to us, mainly from St. Louis, along the Mississippi, trying to make their way to Cape Girardeau, Sikeston, and areas north of the Boot Heel. Not to mention storms along the front to the north. The same front that brought us storms on Saturday, but jetted back to the north yesterday, all because of this upper level ridge. This is what keeps us dry, but keeps us hot and humid for sure as we continue into tomorrow. So let's break down tomorrow with the forecast here on the Future Track. Everyone's mostly clear throughout the evening. Eventually, though, that will drop temperatures down to about 75 degrees first thing in the morning. Quite a warm start, but that south breeze kicks up a little bit at 5 to 15, but still keeps us hot. 92 by noon. Afternoon highs in Joplin will top out around 97, and that's how much of the area will fare. Mid, even a few upper 90s. And again, temperatures like that doesn't take a lot of humidity for tomorrow, especially to make it feel like it's between 100 and 106. So it's no wonder those heat advisories will remain in place. And of course they will remain in place too, because this upper ridge stays in place through the middle of the week. But by the end of the week, a weakness in the ridge could allow for a few isolated storms for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon. The thinking is, though, once we head into Monday, we should have our next front roll on in to thankfully give us slightly better rain chances and a chance to knock highs back into the upper 80s by Monday. Until then, Dow, the heat and humidity, that's the name of the game. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with highs around 96, 97, and the humidity in play. Those alert days will remain in place as well.
And for those of you who had been watching golf coverage on CBS, you are joining this broadcast in progress. Thanks for staying with us. Coming up in sports, a former Crowder College pitcher shines for the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll have details. And the GIRARD Trojans are just 11 days away from their season opener. Jacob Leonard joins us with the Trojans season preview next.
Fox 14.
The GIRARD Trojans are just 11 days away from their season opener. Now, GIRARD finished last season with a 4-6 record, but they picked up some big wins along the way, and they're hoping that momentum stays with them this fall.
The GIRARD Trojans are coming off their first playoff win since 2016.
Those last two games, we won the turnover battle, and I think that's kind of something we can resonate on this year and build from. But it does give you some confidence coming into it, but it's a new team. We lost a lot of parts from that team, but we got a good group coming back off of it.
It's a lot of motivation to get back out there and show them what we can do.
Seeing some of those things, that simple things that you can take care of yourself can help you win games and be in competitive games. I think that's something we can build off of.
The Trojans have 6 starters back on each side of the ball from last year's team. Their experience lies mostly at the skill positions.
We've got quite a few skill guys that at least saw some playing time for us. Last year was an interesting year with the COVID and everything and the quarantines. That they had to kind of earn their stripes maybe before they were ready.
It's the interior on each side where Girard will have the most new faces.
Things are going really great. We got a new line this year, ready to compete, and for this Friday coming up for our Jamboree, we're ready to play.
We've got some parts there. Our offensive defensive line is going to be green, but willing. I think they've bought into what we're trying to do, and I think they'll be aggressive. They'll be a little undersized. I've told them that they'll probably be undersized in every game they play, but they got to be technicians and do things the right way and play hard.
Girard plays in a tough league and a good district. They're hoping to take another step forward this fall and compete with the best of the best on their schedule.
Those teams that have been at the top tier, we want to try to get to that point where we're knocking some of them off, and I feel like we're getting a little closer each year. But we've got to build on what we've got, and I think we got a chance to be decent if we can take care of things and continue to work each week.
Now, Girard opens the season on September 3rd with a home game against the Colgan Panthers. Well, after a bit of a rough start to his major league career, former Crowder College pitcher Aaron Ashby is on a roll right now for the Milwaukee Brewers. Sunday night, he threw 2 shutout innings out of the pen for the Brewers with 4 strikeouts in the team's 7-3 win over the Nationals. Now, he's had 3 appearances since his first start in the majors. Since then, he has not allowed a single earned run, throwing 8 shutout innings with 9 strikeouts, giving up just 7 hits along the way. Ashby was an All-American in his sophomore season for Crowder in 2018. The Kansas City Royals, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Right now, though, they're pretty good, winning 6 of their last 7. The Royals open up a series on the road tonight against the Houston Astros. That one starts at 7:10. We'll have an update on the game right here tonight at 10. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news right after the break.
Accidents don't just...
7 on Fox 14.
Take time now to honor a local veteran of the Vietnam War. Sarcoxie, Missouri native Seaman Stephen Lambeth served in the U.S. Navy from 1967 to 1971. Seaman Stephen Lambeth, a 4-state hero. Let's check in on today's KOAM News Now Instapoll. Again, today's question: do you think full FDA authorization of the PFIZER vaccine will decrease vaccine hesitancy? At this point, 35% say yes, 65% no. You can vote at KOAMNewsNow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live, and we're going to have the final results tonight on KOAM News at 10. Jordan Abbey joins us now with a look at what's coming up tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Tonight at 9, we're going to have more reaction to the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine approved by the FDA today. Also, a look at companies that have already implemented COVID-19 vaccine mandates after that FDA's approval. And a look at one national pizza company's latest invention, watermelon pizza. That, of course, much more coming away tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Thank you, but no thanks on the watermelon pizza. Check out this breathtaking panorama of Mars. NASA says its Curiosity rover took 129 individual images while it traveled up the side of Mars' Mount Sharp. The detailed compilation shows a 360-degree view of part of the red planet's Gale crater, including Rafael Navarro Mountain, named in honor of a late NASA scientist. NASA says the panorama reveals an ancient environment that has dried up over time. They believe the rocks will tell them how this once wet planet changed into the rocky, dry land it is today. Perhaps a warning that we can avoid, a future that we can avoid. The weather, hot, hot, hot.
Yeah, especially for the next 3 days. Hot and the humidity as well, keeping the alert days and the heat advisories in place. 97 tomorrow, still mid to upper 90s through Thursday.
Final sports note.
We'll have more from the Girard Trojans tonight at 10. Also, we'll hear from the Kansas City Chiefs on their second preseason game.
Looking forward to that. We'll see you at 10. Let's make it a great evening.
Salon service is provided by